Hey everyone, this is Elias from Red Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid Sport Touring. Now, this has more power than the sportier SI, and this has better MPGs than the more base model or simple non-performance version of the Civic. I think we may have the best every all-around day kind of situation Civic. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We get to the front, and first of all, this Blue Lagoon Pearl color looks really good. I love, it's kind of like a steel blue look to it. It looks really good, very subtle, but there's some pizzazz or some wow about it that I really liked. One thing I do want to mention with the front end is thank you, Honda, for not changing it. So many times we get some of these hybrid varieties or these EV varieties of normal cars, and the front just looks awful because they're trying to make it sleek, they're trying to make it more aerodynamic, and in turn, it just doesn't look good. Thank you, Honda, for saying, no, we're just gonna make it seem unassuming that you can get an insane amount of MPGs and get more power than an SI. Yeah, I'm gonna keep mentioning that because it's crazy how that's the case in this. But yeah, the front end looks great. We have these headlights that just look really menacing. I love the fact that they just kind of sink in and the hood just kind of overlaps a little bit there. Very good output, no complaints with that. We have some openings here on the side which are actually functional. We have nice grille here. We don't have a front-facing camera, so unfortunately, yeah, we don't get that. We do have a big grille down here, just an overall good shape. And like I said, I'm kind of glad that Honda didn't make a big change to the front to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, that's the hybrid version or that's the EV version in a negative way. This is great, looks awesome, and performs really well. So let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.0 liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine, and it is cranking out a combined 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the eCVT and then to the front wheels. Now, a couple of things with this. Let's talk about the numbers first. So with this being the hybrid, we're supposed to get 50 city, 47 highway, and 49 combined. Now, I did about 45 combined, and then we started having some fun and MPGs dropped. But a good number, I would say, is 45 is what we got. I'd say is pretty everyday comparable, real life numbers, so to speak. And yeah, we did get a little bit of city, we did get some stop and go traffic, and that battery filled up really quick with that stop and go traffic. But the crazy thing about this is that the Civic Si has 200 horsepower, but only 192 pound-feet of torque. So we go from 192 to 232 as far as torque goes. And Hondas aren't typically known for torque, but I'm glad this does have more torque because it feels fun, even with the CVT transmission setup. So I like it. It's good. It's quiet. You know, when we're in EV mode, it's almost non-existent. Even when we have the engine on, and you really don't notice that the engine is on, or when it switches from EV to the gas-powered mode, which is great. We didn't feel a stutter. We didn't feel anything. Same thing when it turns off. I don't know what Honda is doing with the motor mount or something, but it just doesn't translate into the cabin. Yeah, when you accelerate all the way, you're gonna hear the engine rev up, but every day just accelerating off the line, normal, it was super impressive. I was loving the way that this was behaving. And the CVT, like I said, it was fine, no issues with it. I wish we had shifting option because the way it performs, it makes you want to have shifting points, even though yes, there's no real big shifting with the CVT, but that's good. Then to the front wheels, no issues there. you know, you get a little bit of torque steer when you get that torque kicking in, but it's fun, it's controlled, it is well behaved, it is spectacular. Now, the other thing is we've driven a Prius, and the numbers for that, we were completely off. I think it was like 38 to their 50 or so. And the fact that we were able to get 45 to their, I guess, 49 is a massive difference. And yeah, I'm kind of liking this a little bit more. Well, let's see what we have in those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this nice 7-spoke 18-inch alloy wheel, and it is wrapped in the 235/40 Continental Pro Contact tire. Now, a couple of things with this. So the design looks really cool. I like the 7-spoke. Yeah, it's a little bit different than maybe your more typical 6-spoke or 5-spoke. So I like the 7-spoke. I like the color. I like the cuts that we have to it. I like the polished or the machined face that we get. Now, performance-wise, the tires were great. They were quiet. They had enough grip for the amount of power the engine delivered. They were telling us what the tires were doing on the road. Feedback was great. Just everything. It's a really good setup. The brakes were good as well. No complaints with it. The regen was nice to have, to be able to collect some of that power back into the battery and to help out with those MPGs. Suspension was great. It was absorbing what it needed to. It was giving you the feedback that it needed to give you. It's a good setup. It really is. And again, this isn't the performance version, and we still had some performance, but comfort at the same time. It's so weird that it could give us that, because typically you either get one or you get the other. Not with this. It was right in the middle. Yeah. So let's go ahead and see what we have in the side. We get to the side profile, and this thing looks really good. I love the design we get and the shape we get from the Civic sedan. Now, we do get the hybrid option in the hatchback version, which I'm a little torn because I'm a fan of hatchbacks, and I do like the hatchback silhouette, but I do like it when it has the Type R wing. When it doesn't have it, it looks maybe not the best, like something is missing. Or I think it's just because of the fact that I know what the Type R looks like with that wing, and it just looks really good. So yeah, I'd probably be torn between getting the sedan and the hatchback. So just compare and see which one you like. Let me know. But overall, though, the design is great. Again, this color looks really good. We have the big, nice 18-inch wheels, which look great on this. Nice ride height as well, so I do kind of see a little bit of a sportier, kind of maybe a little bit slightly looking lower than maybe your other cars in this segment. So loving that. Now we get the fenders that have kind of an angular design, but kind of a muscular, bulky side of things that is kind of more smoothed over. So I'm loving those lines that we get. And then we have the side skirt down here, which looks really great, and it just kind of flares out towards the back. We have black framing around the windows, and we have this cool, I love this kind of little kick that we get here in the rear window there. But yeah, looks good. I love the way that this looks. So I have the key fob in my pocket, so I'll go ahead and grab the door handle. Automatically unlocks, and I can go ahead and pull and open up, and I'm good to go. Pretty decently sized doors too, so I can go ahead and close this off and lock it by sliding my finger there. I go to check the back, and yeah, we're not going to have the sensor in the back, but just a matter of activating with the front, and I can go ahead and open up the back. Again, a good sized door that can open fairly big to get you in there. Close this off, lock it off, and now let's head to the back and see what we get there. Now we get to the back, and this thing looks really good. I love the shape we have with this, and I love the shape and the use of lines that we get when we have kind of a smoother panel shape going into a more angular line, which works really well when we get kind of this quarter panel here going to the trunk area. So we kind of have this finessing here, and then it goes to a sharp, soft ducktail, which I really love the fact that we have this. Just kind of this little bump there. Looks great. Now, again, the color looks really good. The taillights are actually pretty big relative to what you would typically see in some of this. Usually you'd probably get like about from here up. But the fact that we have that extra looks good, looks nice and bulky looking there. But yeah, we have the hybrid badging, we have the sport touring badging. We don't get an exhaust tip kind of sneaking out there, just a tiny little bit. But overall, I do like the shape that we get with the Civic sedan in the rear. So let's go ahead and see what we have in this trunk. We open up the trunk, and to my surprise, there's a good amount of space. Even though this is a small compact sedan, we get a good amount of space. So we have a little bit of an area here. We have the actual just bigger opening, and again a little bit of space here on the side, and my bag fits in there. There's still plenty of space. There's still a lot of height to it as well. And again, with sedans, the typical problem we get with putting big items is this, because the openings themselves aren't that big, but in this case it's really big. I could have fit a big box in here with no issue, and that's the biggest surprise. One thing I'm kind of a little disappointed in, yeah, well, it's nice that we have extra storage, but we're kind of not having a spare tire in this. Looks like there is an opening for a spare tire, so other trims may actually get it, but this specific model, I didn't get it. So yeah, that's kind of the only downside, but other than that though, it's a good space for all your groceries and anything you want to put in here. We get to the door, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty straight to the point too. Nothing really wow, nothing bad about it though. So we do have a softer plastic up here on there, and we have a harder plastic with the piano black trim here, and the brushed aluminum door opener there. And we have this kind of trim that looks like carbon fiber, but it's not. Just a different pattern to kind of simulate like a carbon, like a weave, so to speak, like a woven material. And we have the windows. Nice that we have auto for the fronts. Unfortunately, we don't have for the back, but yeah, controls are there. And this button, yeah, that trunk opener, let's just say it's instant. Like, you press it and it just shoots right up. So just be aware, if you have anyone back there that's waiting for it, to have them step back. And then we have the cup holders on the door there, which are good. They work, as you can see. A little bit of storage. Wish we could have a little bit bigger, but I understand, small compact car. And this, so it's a shame we don't get it in the woofer, but this is a Bose system. This has been one of the best systems I have heard in a vehicle that is an aftermarket. So I am gonna bite my tongue in when I say I'm not a big Bose fan, and saying that this is one of the best systems that I've heard. It's just a shame that we couldn't put a little Bose badge there to give them props, or to, you know, have them celebrate their system. But we do see it in the tweeter on the A-pillar, which we'll take a look. We get to the seats, and these things are really nice. Yes, I know they're a lighter color, but trust me, it's really good. So don't worry about it, just get a cleaner. But the shape to them is really good. The positioning is the incredible part. I haven't sat so low in a vehicle in such a long time. This thing can really get low, and I love my seating for that. But yeah, so if you're tall, not to worry, you'll definitely be able to get your seat down to make the most out of your torso length. But it is really, really good, and the positioning is no complaints. It really was a great setup. We get over to the steering wheel, and this thing is really good. I love the feel to it. So shape is perfect for my hand. We have nice, super soft leather on here, and we have the stitching, lighter stitching, which is a nice touch. Again, something to contrast the color to it. Then we have the radio controls here, which I've been a fan of, because I can just change my track right above there and change my volume going up and down with just one single hand on here, and easy to reach. And then we have the options for what you want it to display on the left hand side for the infotainment side of things right in there. But yeah, no complaints there. On the right hand side, we have the cruise control options, readily available, easy to get to, good shape steering wheel, good look to it, good feel. No complaints. Gets a thumbs up from me. We take a look at the gauge cluster, and Couple of things. So it's a full digital display, and on the left hand side we're going to have the charge for the battery there. Then we have our kind of our power, essentially your throttle positioning there, as well as any regen that you may be doing right in there. Then we have different choices for safety things, and your speedometer on the right, which adjustability is there for that. And then our gas tank, which, yeah, we have about 10 gallons for this gas tank, which is not a very big gas tank, but the fact that we haven't been able to kill it after 154 miles on this. So yeah, that's pretty impressive to have that much. And yeah, we can see we have right now 44.7, but that's after we did our test drive of our review, and we were, you know, giving it some gas. The irony of this being a hybrid, but yeah, we have that. But the adjustability is pretty good, no complaints there. I wish I can do more on the left hand side other than just the kind of infotainment radio side of things. So yeah, that's kind of the, yeah, and again, you can see that's kind of what we get. Wish that were customized, because there are some things I'd like to have kind of in both of them. And what that is on the right hand side, I have the option for the powertrain and seeing what it's doing, what is the battery doing. So you could see there, it kind of shows that, okay, we're getting the power from the engine or from the battery to the front wheels. And I'd like to have that on the left, because then I'd like to have this on the right where I can see what my actual MPGs are. So I'd like to have that on there, but yeah, unfortunately, you kind of gotta commit with one or the other. But it's been here for most of the time, but also here to kind of see where I am with my MPGs. One other thing I forgot to mention is, if you take a look at that little Civic we have there, when I hit the brakes light up. When I let off, it lets off. When I put the turn signal, it turns on the turn signal. When I put on the other turn signal, it does that. It's such a stupid little gimmicky thing, but it's kind of entertaining to watch. I don't know why I was so entertained by that silly little thing, but thank you, Honda engineers, for adding that little, I guess you could call it an Easter egg. Then we get over to the infotainment screen, and this thing is nice. Now, a couple of things. Yes, it's an anti-glare screen. Yeah, you're seeing glares on your, kind of on my recording, but when you're kind of up here, that's kind of what I see. And it's perfect, because you don't see any glares. So it's at a perfect angle for my position, and really any position. So yeah, here it's just because I'm kind of head on and it's catching the window or the light that's coming in from that window. But other than that though, you're not gonna see this stuff here. So just be aware. I'll probably even just have it here so you could see what you'd actually get. And yes, we do have Apple CarPlay. Yes, we do have wireless Apple CarPlay. And yes, I did have a little bit of issue trying to connect to it till I had to get the cable, which kind of defeats the purpose. We set it up, but then we can disconnect, and I haven't had any issues since. And then we had the Bose system, which has been unbelievable. Yeah, remember I said we get it in the A-pillar? Yeah, you get your little tweeter there with the little badge, which is just spectacular, the way that this sound system works in this vehicle, which is insane because this is an entry-level vehicle, really. But it's great. Love the way that it sounds. Love the way that it behaves. No issues there. We have our options here as well, where we can switch to different modes that we may want. But it's just a really good system. We get down to the AC controls, and I haven't really been playing with them much because it's just set it and forget it kind of thing. It's very simple, very straightforward, no issues with it. It's found a good, okay, I'll explain it this way. Some vehicles I put it at a temperature that I like, and then it maybe goes a little too cold or not cold enough, and I'm having to constantly change the temperature to kind of adjust. Now with this, the Civic has been dialed in so well, which is a big surprise as far as, you know, not having to do anything, because I've been nonstop with other vehicles, and to finally get this, it's nice. So just literally set it and forget it. We come down here and we have two USB-C connections, and we also have the 12-volt adapter right in there. No issues with it. Cables were recognized well. no complaints. Once we got the my phone connected and set up for wireless Apple CarPlay, it had no issues. And then we got to use the wireless charger because, again, when we have wireless Apple CarPlay, it's exactly what I want to use, not a cable to charge. So we'll go ahead and switch hands and we'll try the chuck test. Did it catch? Not quite, but if I just bump it to go right into its spot, it will, and it will stay there. So it's not gonna move. It's not gonna, I haven't had any overheating issues. I haven't had any, low charging things, nothing. It just works. It actually works. And if you don't want it to, you can just go ahead and turn it off there so that it doesn't charge, and you can just use it as a regular area for storage there. But yeah, it's been pretty impressive to have that wireless charger. I'll give you the chuck test because it was a bad throw on my end. We get over to the shifter and it's really nice, really good shape, feels good. Throws are not a problem. The only thing is, I wish we did have like a like the Prius had with the B mode, which is kind of like their one pedal driving. I wish this had it. We have it kind of configured with the paddle shifters, but it kept for some reason going back to a different mode or not having the regenerative braking. So I wish we just had that, or even a manual mode. I know this is a CVT, but give me simulated shifts. Give me something. It's a good position, which I'll kind of jump over to the armrest a little bit. My hand was just on it. It just was perfect. It really was a good position for, having a shifting mode on this. Then we have the drive modes, which we can switch from Econ to normal to sport and then individual. And then when you hold up on here, it's going to let me change my individual settings. So my powertrain, I can change it to what I want, whether it's normal, Econ, or sport. Then the power steering, then the steering, whether you want it normal or sport. Engine sound, if you want it to get pumped in, do you want a sport mode or normal? And then the gauge cluster on there as well. So this is how I liked it, because I like sport everything, but I still want to save. I like the sport feel, but I'd like to save some money at the pump. So Econ for powertrain, and then pretty much sport for everything else to give me that sport experience. Then we have your electronic parking brake and the brake hold, which has been really great. It stays on every time I restart the car, so I don't have to constantly be changing it. So love that. We get over to the side, and the cup holders are nice and big, no issues there. They are kind of at a staggered height because the gauge cluster, the center console kind of goes at an incline. So loving that, no issues with it. Really, it works. Then we come over to the armrest, which, like I said, was great positioning for the shifter there, but it's fairly big. It's got some depth to it. That's really the big thing with this, is not that wide, not that kind of lengthwise like that, but it is kind of on the deeper side. So we do have a good amount of space right in there. We get to the back doors and pretty much the same setup that we get in the front, other than we don't get much more storage other than for a water bottle right in there. The other thing is, again, it's kind of a shame that we don't celebrate the Bose system as much as we do in other vehicles, but yeah, I wish we had a Bose badge there or there, but I'll take the fact that it sounds that good over the flashiness of it. Then we get to the back seats, and there is a ton of leg room. So my wife's seat is really back, and so is mine, and you have a lot of space back here, which is really surprising in a small sports compact like this. So we also have the same material with the seats, which look really nice, feel great. My kid's seat had no issues with putting it in. So the way that you do it is you do have to kind of uncover this little area, and then we have the little latches there. The only thing is, it's a little kind of difficult to put it back in the fancy way that it comes. So yeah, you just gotta have to shove your hand in there, and be careful you don't hit yourself with anything, so that you can nicely hide that and tuck that away. And then we come over here and we have the armrest with my kid hitting cup holders. They are a little bit on the smaller side, so don't expect full-size cups back here. For yeah, for the little ones. But that's kind of what you get in the back, which is really nice. We get inside of the Honda Civic and it's nice. There's a lot of room in this sedan, in this compact sedan. The biggest thing is probably how I'm sitting. I know you guys are gonna laugh at this, but I feel like I'm in a Formula One car because it lets me sit super low, and I feel like my legs are kind of on the higher side than normally would because I sit so low. And I like sitting low in my cars, and I really like that I can sit low in this car. So yeah, really comfortable, great positioning, still tons of space in the back. Yeah, I'm so surprised. I mean, I'm not actually, because the previous gen Civic that I reviewed, the Civic Sport manual, it was not super powered, but it was so much fun. It was great little package. I was surprised by that when I drove that one. So yeah, we're in here. We're gonna go ahead and start driving, and it takes off in EV mode. So we are in eco mode, or econ mode, that they like to call. It is showing me that the EV is on, and I've been doing 45.5 miles to the gallon in this. And I know the number is gonna go really bad after this because I'm going to go ahead and be pushing it to have some fun for the sake of the video. But it's rides smooth. You know, we still have kind of a sports car like feeling in certain areas, which is good. It's kind of what you want, but it's a very relaxing vehicle. This was insane. So in the sense of, I've driven 140 miles in this, and it's felt like 10 miles of driving in this, and I'm probably gonna put even more between today and tomorrow that it gets returned. It's just that damn good. The other thing is, yeah, we still have 242 miles to this tank, and I'm about one little stick over halfway. So yeah, it's insane how much you can get per tank, and that's what's gonna make this great for a really long road trip where you don't want to stop too many times, or really almost at all if you have a trip about 400 miles, because that's kind of what it was telling me with the range when I first got it with a full tank of gas. But yeah, this is really impressive, and just my wife even was saying, yeah, this is a very smooth ride. No complaints of like how it channels any bumps to the cabin inside. It's just a really great package. So let's go ahead and switch the drive mode over to sport as we get kind of in our fun area to drive. The other thing as well is the battery. The way that we are able to quickly in just a little bit of stop and go traffic, and I haven't been aggressive on braking or anything like that. The regen is really great at filling up that battery. I don't think it's because it's a small battery, because it takes a while to drain it, and I'm seeing kind of the settings of what it's going, you know, what it's doing to remove or usage of the battery. So I don't think it's that. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll put the regen as aggressive as it can be, and we'll go ahead and yeah, this thing is crazy that we have more power in this than we do the SI. That's not supposed to happen, Honda. Not sure if you guys were aware of that. The SI is supposed to be just a little bit faster than the non-sporty versions of the Civic. But let me tell you, I'm glad it is, because yeah, it still performs great. Great transmission. Obviously we have the eCVT. I haven't had any issues with it. I usually am against CVTs, but this isn't too bad. You know, we get the simulated shifts as well, which is nice to have, and the braking is there. You know, the steering feel is there. You're getting more performance than an SI. That's insane. Yeah, it's not supposed to be that way. And the crazy thing about that is if you don't want to push it to get more power than an SI delivered to you, you could just put it in eco mode or econ mode and crank out those high MPGs. And I'm talking about 45, which is a lot. I thought, so they're reported as about 50. I thought I wasn't gonna get anywhere near that, and I did, and it probably, if I babied it, I probably could have gotten that, if not even more than the 50. So let's go ahead and we will try the 3-point stop. So we'll kind of go a little bit there. The grass is getting a little on the tall side, so it's making it even narrower for us to do this, which makes it great because that way we can test and make sure if our 3-point stop is good, which it's looking to not be. Which is weird because I wasn't having any trouble yeah, that's all the safety sensors, which is good. That's kind of what you want. Yeah, to kind of straighten out. Yeah, that was kind of surprising that I had to do that many turns for this. So we've gone ahead and set up the Racebox telemetry, and this is awesome. Love this little guy. If you are needing something for the track to register your times, if you're wanting to go on, you know, drag mode or drag meter, it can do both, which is nice. It's not just one or the other, you get both. So if you're interested, there's a link in my description for possibly discount code. So let me go ahead and set it up, and we are set. We will put it in sport mode, kind of turn on the engine there, and rev it up, and away we go. Okay, so not too bad, not too bad. We're dealing with 0 to 30 in 2.5 seconds, and we got the 0 to 60 in 6.44 seconds. Like I said, this is a pretty impressive little car. I don't know if they just cannibalized the SI, because I probably wouldn't want an SI unless you're really wanting manual transmission, but if you don't and you want to have a good decent amount of power, a great chassis to begin with first of all, and you get to have 50 miles per gallon, yeah, you can have dessert and eat your cake too, or however that saying goes. You can eat dinner and have your cake too. I don't know what it is, but I want cake. And I want this Civic. Yeah, I want this. Yeah, maybe I don't want to spend as much for a Type R, because that's literally the ultimate Civic, which I think should get an all-wheel drive system. Which, talking about that, this would be basically 100% set for virtually every environment if we had an all-wheel drive version. And yes, I know we're gonna go to the other vehicles, the SUVs and things like that, but some people don't want to have that necessarily. They want to have a sedan, a small compact sedan, and they just live in inclement areas. So if this had the all-wheel drive, an all-wheel drive system, we were in hybrid, it was the Civic, I think it would sell even more. Not like it really needs any help, but the hybrid definitely helped get more sales, or will get more sales for the Honda Civic, because this is a pretty incredible setup. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2025 Honda Civic Sport Hybrid Touring. And remember, go hybrid, because it's pretty rewarding. Yeah, see ya.